Hello and welcome to today's episode of Dream Business, Dream Life. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you celebrated yourself? Not for something huge, but for something small. Waking up early, maybe, or completing a task, or even just showing up for yourself today. I find that too often we overlook our progress because we're waiting for those big moments, those massive promotions, the six-figure incomes, the dream body. But what if I told you that real success isn't in those big moments? It's in the small steps that get you to those big moments. Today, we're going to talk about why celebrating small wins can be an absolute game changer. We're going to talk a little bit of the psychology behind it, and we're going to talk about how you can start making this a habit. For me, celebrating those small wins has made a massive difference to how happy I am and how much I realize that I achieve every day, even in those really, really crappy moments. So let's talk science for a second. Have you heard of dopamine? Dopamine is that little feel-good chemical that's in your brain. Every time you achieve something, however big or small it is, your brain releases dopamine. And that little boost of magic makes you feel accomplished and keeps you motivated to keep you going. Dopamine is that little bit of magic. And our bodies are so clever that they create that for us when something is going well. Let's think about this as a video game. I've just had my grandkids for a couple of days, so video games are a big thing. When you hit a milestone on a video game, whether it's getting to the next level or whether it is simply collecting a little reward. I used to love playing Sonic the Hedgehog, collecting the gold rings. What a feeling. You feel good when you collect those gold rings. And that's because you're seeing progress. Whether it's one gold ring or five or 10 or 20, it doesn't make any difference. And life works exactly the same way. That's just business. So celebrating your small wins is going to keep you energized for the long game, for the long journey that you've got ahead to hit those much bigger goals, to get to that dream that you so much desire. Here's a quick story. I once had a client, they're still a client, but they wanted to write a book. And every time she thought about writing the entire 200-page book, she felt overwhelmed and she kept giving up. So what I told her is to forget writing the book. I just want you to concentrate on writing one paragraph a day. And when you write that one paragraph, I want you to celebrate the pants off it. And you know what happened? From that moment, she stayed consistent. And 6 months later, that book was done and it is due to be published really soon. Now, this wasn't because she was waiting for the big moment. This was because she celebrated those small wins. Every time she wrote a paragraph, she celebrated. The problem with only celebrating those big moments is it makes you feel like you've never achieved anything, you've never done anything, because it can take you a long time sometimes to go from having nothing on the page to having 200 pages. But actually, you're making massive progress. But if you don't stop to acknowledge that massive progress, all you're focusing on is the fact that you're behind where you want to be. You're miles away from the goal. And I see this all of the time. People graduate and don't feel successful because they haven't yet got that dream job. Entrepreneurs make their first sale, but don't celebrate because, well, it's not the six figures yet. Fitness lovers lose £5 or gain however much muscle mass that they want to gain, but they don't celebrate because it's not £50. The truth is, success isn't about the destination. And you've heard me say this a million times. It's about the journey that you take to get there. And if you don't learn to appreciate those steps, those little steps you've taken to get you that big step, you're never going to feel truly satisfied, however much you achieve. So let's get practical. Let's think about, okay, so how do you celebrate these wins in a way that are going to keep you motivated? Well, here's a few things that I found have really worked for me, and I've seen it work for clients too. First of all, write it down. Keep a win journal. And every day, write down one thing, big or small, that you've accomplished. It's a bit like journaling in any sort, but call it a win journal because seeing your progress on paper is a huge confidence booster. And what better way to look back over the progress you've made than by reading your very own win journal, by actually reading back and saying, I did that, I did that, I did that. If you wait till the end of the month, I guarantee you'll have forgotten half of those little things that you've achieved along the way. So write it down, create a win journal. Saying it out loud. This is something that I massively advocate. Sometimes just acknowledging your progress is enough. So sometimes you just need to say, do you know what? I'm proud of myself for doing that today. I feel a little bit weird at first, but it works. So celebrate out loud. Share it with somebody. So if you feel a bit weird celebrating with yourself, celebrate with other people. Tell a friend, post it on social media. Join a group that celebrates small wins. Because when other people cheer you on, it just reinforces that progress. It makes you feel even better. In my membership and in my mastermind, we absolutely celebrate each other. And we do that intentionally every single week. So share it with somebody. Ring your bestie. Somebody will love to celebrate that news with you. You could reward yourself. I don't know, watch an episode of your favourite show uninterrupted or go for a nice meal. Take a few hours off. Rewards help to make the process fun and sustainable because we all love a little reward. We all love that little pat on the back. And rewards do not have to cost you money. It could be about allowing yourself half an hour to get out in the fresh air. Reward yourself with something that makes you feel good. Practice gratitude. I never used to do this. I do this all of the time now. Before bed, think about 3 things that you've achieved that day. Gratitude is going to shift your mindset from I'm not doing enough to, do you know what? I've achieved a hell of a lot today and I'm super proud of how far I've come. Back in 2021, gratitude journaling was absolutely the thing that helped me to realize how much good goes on even when you're at your lowest moments. I stopped gratitude journaling for a while and I stopped realizing how much I was achieving. As soon as I started, it started to come back. Even in those absolute lowest of moments, there is still some good in your life. There is still good in your business, even when it doesn't feel like it is. So here's my little challenge for you today. What I want you to do before the end of today is I want you to take a moment to celebrate one small win. There will be one. Maybe you exercised. Maybe you had enough water so you stayed hydrated. Maybe you completed a task. Or maybe you just got out of bed when you didn't feel like it. Whatever it is, I want you to acknowledge it and I want you to celebrate it because that is a win and it absolutely matters. We want to create a culture where we celebrate progress, not just perfection. Remember, the small steps you take today are the building blocks for your biggest achievements tomorrow, next week, next month, and in the future. So keep growing, keep going, and most importantly, keep celebrating. Thank you for listening. I will see you next time.